Professor Steiner here. I want to go over something that is unique to close combat, and that is, in a sense, addressed in competition and sport, but in a very lukewarm, watered-down way. And that is the use of deceit and deception. Of course, in sport, you might use a feinting movement when you move in on somebody, but there's really no great opportunity for deceit and deception in sport, since you know you're going to enter into this contest. Nobody is surprised when they show up for a competitive event, and you know there's one opponent. You know all the particulars about what the rules are. You know what, pretty much, you probably will know your opponent's style, he'll know yours. So deceit and deception are really not integral in a tactical sense when we speak of competition, any kind of competition. In self-defense and close combat, however, the use of deceit and deception is vital. First of all, there's no morality in self-defense. There's no ethical problem with deceiving an opponent, with taking him off guard by subterfuge, by feigning one thing and then carrying out another. This is part of good tactical thinking and good technical application. Self-defense, remember, is for survival, not points. If you're with your family and you're set upon by a collection of punks who intend to victimize you, you have no moral obligation to them whatsoever. Your only obligation is to yourself and your family, and that is to protect them at any cost. And very often, in different contexts where the need to protect oneself arises, the opportunity to use deceit and deception fits in beautifully. I've used it myself, and I can tell you it works, if you're convincing, like a charm. It does pay to have a little bit of acting ability, so you're convincing. If you say to an opponent while you're breathing heavily and you look like you want to kill, "Please don't hurt me," that's not really going to deceive him into thinking you're afraid. You must look and act convincing. A very good way, for example, to react, this is just a silly example really, somebody shakes your hand and they start to squeeze your hand. Well, there are a number of, they're almost amusing self-defense techniques that you could use against that type of attack. And I used one once, a long time ago, when it was a ju-jitsu technique where you step in and throw the person to the ground. You're not really hurting them that badly, but you're making a point. You're not getting away with squeezing my hand. Well, when someone starts to squeeze your hand, you react, I think, the best way by exaggerating. Shakes your hand, he squeezes it. Ow! Ow, you're hurting me. Now, a reaction like that will perhaps cause him to let go. But usually the kind of jackass who shows off in that manner would laugh or act amused. And that sets him up beautifully for that self-defense move. That's an example of what I'm talking about. Hand squeezing is not one of the major problems we worry about when training in self-defense. But let's say you're leaving your apartment building or you're leaving your office in the evening, and you're confronted by a couple of guys who say, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to talk to you." And you're backed to a wall, And these guys are obviously bent on no good. Hey man, you got some money for us? Yeah, sure, okay. Please don't hurt me. You can have all my money and my credit cards. Now, obviously, if you're licensed to carry a firearm, you can pretend you're reaching for your wallet and produce the weapon. But if you're not carrying a firearm, okay, guys, please leave me alone. And as you reach for your wallet, jab one in the throat with a chop, or strike one in the eyes with your fingertips, and then go after the second one. But make your first gesture one of compliance. Make your first move one of acquiescence, so that you disarm these creatures that are trying to intimidate you and rob you, and you don't put them on an alert whereby they're expecting you to do something. Well, that's the last thing you want to do. You don't want them to expect you to do something. You want them to expect complicity. And then you attack. Feigning illness, feigning dizziness, or one thing I used to recommend to students all the time, learn a few words in some obscure foreign language. Now, for some people, that may be English. In all seriousness, learn some weird phrase or something in some foreign language. And when somebody threatens you or says something to you or is preparing to initiate trouble, look at them like you don't know what they're saying. Pardon? No comprende. You know, you say anything. Spanish and French are readily known, but just say something odd. And when they say, oh man, shut up, or oh, a foreigner, or whatever their reaction is, kick him in the testicles as hard as you can as he reacts to what you've just done. When a felon gives you an order, give me your money, get over here. Hey, give me the briefcase, give me the car keys, shut up and don't move. He expects to be obeyed. When you react in a completely unanticipated manner, you're not resisting him. He's peripherally ready for some kind of resistance because he's keyed up and he's ready to attack you. But when the reaction is one that he never expected, you set him up. He's no longer thinking, is this guy going to listen to me or not? He said, what the hell is, and in that moment, when the troublemaker is thinking to himself, what the hell is going on here? What? You attack. For example, I've got this thing about bullies. I don't see bullies as being a less of a threat than an outright attacker. Bullies have caused serious damage to people, and children are not the only ones who get bullied. You got somebody trying to bully you, push you around. All right, you've made your decision. I'm going to take this guy off the count. But before you do something, when he pushes you back against a wall, or he just blocks your path, or he steps up in front of you and says, hey man, I don't like your face. You know, this type of thing. He's looking for trouble. A very good way to react to that is, oh my God, oh, please don't hurt me. And you act almost like you're fainting or you're feeling faint. He may back down. He probably will act amused. Well, if he laughs at you or says, oh, come on, what's the matter with you? Hey, man, what's the matter? You a pussy? Well, in the reaction he has to the deception you've provided is an opportunity to do anything you want. A fast uppercut punch to the solar plexus, a jab into his throat or eyes, a kick to his testicles or knees. Write your own ticket. Once you've set a troublemaker up, once you've set your opponent up, you got him. Take advantage of it and take him out. Always act to give the opposite impression of your true intentions to whoever is victimizing you. I'll give you another example, and this is something that I would teach to, let's say, a girl or a woman. If you're being abducted, you're in a car with somebody who's driving away with you, well, act terrified, act subservient, or act like you like the guy, like you're coming on to him. And when the car comes to a stop at a red light or slows down for a turn, chop him in the throat. He'll be open for it if he's amused by your compliance and the fact that he feels you're going to give him something he wants anyway. You don't want to make an obvious show of the fact that you are capable and ready to take action. You certainly don't want to go into a stance. If you're facing someone and he gets into a fighting stance and he's a distance from you, go to a relaxed, ready, off-angled position. Bring your hands up like this. Oh, hey, come on, please don't bother me. Don't back up. Don't back up. But if he moves around you, turn and keep facing him this way. As he moves in, break his leg with a side kick. He won't expect it because you look like you don't want to fight. And this gesture is understood universally. I don't want any trouble. Is it unethical? Who cares? Never, ever, ever let ethics or fair play or decency or any of that nonsense cloud your mind when you're thinking in terms of self-defense. This guy over here who wants to hurt you, dish it out in the most vicious, aggressive way you know how. And don't stop until you've stopped him. Nobody has the right to any kind of ethical consideration if he undertakes to victimize a person. That's not the same thing as getting into a contest with somebody. That's not the same as a sparring round during your class. Somebody who intends to victimize you is entitled to nothing. Ask if you, please, can I take my medicine? Something like that. It throws a person completely off guard. Sir, please don't bother me. I just had heart surgery. Either the idiot will have brains enough to walk away, or he'll attack you. Well, if he attacks you, he expects a cardiac patient. Now, witnesses to this, if the police show up and question the witnesses, will tell the police, well, yeah, this guy just said he had a heart condition. He sure didn't look it when he went after this guy, but he was trying to avoid trouble. That's what you want a witness to tell the police. It's obvious that you were trying to avoid trouble. If you say to somebody, better watch it, asshole, I'm a black belt. That's not trying to avoid trouble. That's a challenge to a moron. Instead, say something that really will let someone think, it's not worth it. Now, if he thinks that and walks away, you won. If he thinks, oh man, this is going to be easy. This guy's a pushover. He's scared. You won because you set him up. And when he moves against you, you got him. Think about these things. Deceit and deception. Deceit and deception. Be unfair. Be enthusiastically unfair. Plan tactics that take someone off guard. And then, God forbid, if you are in a situation where you're being victimized by a dangerous felon, use it.